guys for having me here. It's an honor to be here. I myself have been walking with the Lord for over 30-some years, and I'm not here to preach, but I could. But I just want to just leave you with one thing: is anytime you feel down to nothing, just remember that God is up to something. God is amazing. There's not anything He can't do for you. So just keep that in mind. So I'm basically here to talk to you about Anchored for Justice. It is a nonprofit organization. I've had this for about 5 years, and it is geared towards going out to the community and bringing awareness of what human trafficking is, ways to identify if human trafficking is going on, what you can do about it, and ways that you can get involved. So not only do we go to different events and discuss what human trafficking is, we also are part of looking for missing persons. So if there is a missing person, then Anchor for Justice is there to help put on awareness events and all for that. Everybody's probably heard about human trafficking. What it is a $34 billion a year industry. And that's just the sex trafficking. That's not the labor trafficking. That's not the organ harvesting. That is just the sex trafficking. And that's just in the United States, and even though it goes all over the world. But in the United States, it's pretty big business. And in order to be that successful, a business has to be organized. And the human trafficking arena is a very organized entity. They operate on an economic method of supply, demand, and distribution. And there are key players to this organization. And like I said, if you want it to be successful, you have to have it organized. And they have various players, various people that are involved in this. Not only are there the trafficker who will orchestrate all of this, but there's also some of the key players here, the groomers, the recruiters. These people are the ones that when a person calls the trafficker and makes a demand on something, whether it be a teenager, whether it be a child, whether it be an adult, what type of service they want, then a trafficker is the one that gets tells the recruiter what to go look for. This is a pretty big entity, and I can't really get a whole lot in and just, I don't even know how much time I have to talk. But the key players, they all answer to the trafficker. The key players, the recruiter, they're the ones that's out looking for the sake of time on there, to skim through teenagers, runaways. If anyone that is vulnerable, any person that they see, man or woman, that they feel is vulnerable and that they can use to exploit and make money from, because it's all about power, it's all about control, and it's all about money. I work on a case right now with Megan Lancaster. She's been missing out of Portsmouth, Ohio since 2013. In addition, I'm a private investigator also. So I have been hired by Megan's family. Megan was right out of high school. She had met a guy, and this guy got her on drugs, and she became addicted. So she started doing things on the streets to feed her addiction, and she eventually was taken in by a trafficker, who then started pimping her out, and she's missing now, and the last that we heard is she went to her trafficker and said, "I no longer want to do this, I want to stay home and take care of my son." And that was the last that we had heard. And her trafficker happened to have been a judge and an attorney. Now, when I started this 5 years ago, the traffickers were drug cartel leaders, Mexican leaders, gangs and gang members, but things have progressed over the past 5 years to where there are a lot of people that you least expect that are traffickers. And in Megan's case, it's a pretty well-known case. I'm sure that if you look at anything in Portsmouth, Ohio, you'll be able to pick up on what I just told you about her case. But Megan was addicted to drugs, and she started going to different places trying to get what she needed, and they eventually took her and started to exploit her. And they used her, they trafficked her, they pimped her out so that they could make money. And not only young women that are addicted are vulnerable, but runaway teenagers are also vulnerable. The traffickers will scan and they'll look for teenagers that is runaways after second or third time of running away from home. Those are the ones that they focus on and concentrate on. If you look at the Ohio website and bring up the missing persons, you'll see multiple runaway teenagers that are missing and taken into trafficking. When they get taken in, not only is the recruiter out recruiting these people, they go through a groomer, a person that teaches them and trains them. This is what you will do. This is what will happen if you don't do what we want you to do. They will, if they are not addicted to drugs, they will get them addicted to drugs. There's also the watcher. A watcher is a person that, I don't know if you may have seen this, you may not have seen it. From every street, not every street, but every county, every city in the United States. Nobody is, they don't care where you're from. It doesn't matter if you are low socioeconomic, if you're financially down and out. It doesn't matter what kind of class of family you come from. They're looking for whatever the demand is from a pimp or from a John. So the supplier is the trafficker. The demand is the John. And the distribution is the victim. 80% of the human trafficking are females. 80% of the victims are females. 50% of that are children. There are young children. Some parents will pimp out their children to pay their rent, to get their drugs. It's a multiple. This is such a big arena. There's some articles there if you haven't already seen. Not only are like I said, I'm going to go back to the Mexican cartel. For 20 years, I was a hearing officer, and I had conducted a hearing with a young lady that was 16 years old. She had a baby. And she come in for the hearing, and we did DNA testing and found the father to be a drug cartel member from Toledo. He was 70 years old. And that really captivated my interest. So I'm like, what in the world? So I started researching this, and this was when I had finished up my job after 20 years as a hearing officer and decided to become a private investigator and start working with human trafficking. So I seen a 16-year-old girl. She had the baby here in Zanesville. She decided that she was going to go get clean. She was going to raise her child. And after she had the baby, the drug cartel member came to her house, knocked on the door. She wouldn't answer, so he left her a gift and called her later and said, I know you don't want to see me, but I did leave you a gift. And that gift happened to have been a box under a bush, and it had some needles and some heroin and other drugs for her. And she saw that, and she just took it. And she went back to him. He knew how vulnerable she was. So that case alone, that was my first case that I had never had any introduction to as far as human trafficking. But he picked her up on the streets here in Zanesville and took her to Toledo, and then he had her groomed and put her on the streets, and she was still his girl. So after that case, and I started getting more involved in what I've seen on the streets as the time has gone by. Not only are the gang members in the Mexican cartel, but I've also seen the people in power, political power. I've seen, there's some news articles there, preachers, pastors, football coaches,
there's just a variety. So human trafficking is, it is big money. They don't care who they're exploiting as long as they can make some money. You can sell drugs one time, and when you take that, you sell that drug and the person takes it, it's done, over with, and gone. But a female can be sold over and over and over again until the trafficker has made his return of investments. He will then sell her to someone else, and it starts over again. There is branding. When these people own these girls, they will brand them. It's called branding, but it's tattoos, certain tattoos that they will put on them to let other gangs know or other traffickers know that this person belongs to me. And until I get my return of investments, you can't have her. I'll put her on the streets, I'll sell her, she's mine, this is the mark, this is my mark, and they know. They all know whose mark belongs to who. So they will brand these girls. I had a girl that, when we put on big events, I'll have some girls go with me to give their testimonies. And I have a girl that was on the street for 6 years. And her trafficker had she had 3 traffickers, and they had branded her in different places on her body. And she did get out, but once you get out, you still endure PTSD. You still endure a lot of health issues. So there's a lot of mental issues. There's a lot to helping these people once they do finally get rescued. But to get them rescued, it's difficult because these traffickers then get them on drugs, and they count on the drug. They count on their trafficker to give them the drugs, and they have to do things to get the drug, and in order to do what they have to do, they have to be high and out of their mind, because some of these Johns are very, some of their demands that they want is almost humanly impossible to comprehend or to even do unless you're on drugs. And then you can close your mind off and do whatever it takes to get the money to give to your trafficker. Trap houses, the traffickers will keep the girls in trap houses, and even in trap house, the girl has to pay to use the water, to use the bathroom, anything in these trap houses. These men, there are women traffickers also, but for the sake of time I'll say men, will make these girls pay. This is a very big business, and there are red flags to be able to identify who's going through what. There are different types of red flags for kids. There's different types of red flags for young women. You just have to be able to open up your eyes and see if this is going on. An example would be a lady called me and said, "Hey Lily, I think over here behind Kroger's there's some human trafficking going on." She didn't know a whole lot, but she knew enough to make a phone call. And there was nothing else that she's going to do. She suspected something, so she made a call. And I went over, and make a long story short, the vehicle belonged to a doctor. And I saw the man that brought the woman to the place. But I haven't yet connected the picture, or the face of this man with him actually being the doctor that's on the license plate. Possibly, but you know, the reason I tell you this is to say she made a phone call because she had suspected something. She thought maybe something was going on. There's a little paper on your table there, red flags. If you guys want one I need to take with you, I can certainly give you some. But these Johns don't realize what they are taking. These girls on the streets, a lot of them don't have, a lot of them may have STDs, may have maybe HIV, maybe have AIDS. And these men, there are many prominent men in the community that pick up these girls. I have seen them. And they're taking things home to their families. The gentleman that I watched him pick up a girl, I followed him, and he made her get in the back seat of his truck and hide or be down to where nobody in the community could see him driving with one of the girls. But as I pulled up beside him, she kind of raised her head up, and I could just see this much in the back window, where I seen her get in. I knew she was in there, but as he's driving away, I didn't see it until I pulled up beside him, and she did pop up. And that's just all that I could see of her. I wanted to get beside him so I could see who he was, and he was a prominent man in the community. So it is about, Johns don't realize what they're doing. These girls that are on the streets, they don't get proper nutrition. They don't get the proper things that they need. So what we do is we gather items and put them in these bags here. These bags have everything that you could possibly imagine for these girls on the streets. When I see them, I pull up beside them, look at them, and they're like, "What are you looking at?" And so I say, "That's not for you here." And this is everything that you can think of. And I try to keep it in small things, and we can pass it around because it can get kind of heavy. So it just kind of keeps all those supplies and there's some food and there's some socks and underwear and just a little bit of everything in there for these girls. But a lot of it is condoms, soaps, shampoos, moisturizers, hand sanitizers, things that will help them. And in addition to the bag, we put phone numbers in there where if they want to be rescued, there's a number there. They can give us a call. We'll help them. A lot of times, if we see the guy with them, he's like maybe walk down the road, and you'll be able to tell this is one of the girls is being trafficked because the guy will have a cell phone, and he's the one that makes the deals with the Johns. But I have caught these guys going through the bags after I give them to the girls. Take them, they sit down on the street, and they go through these bags. And I remember the first time that ever happened to me, and I was furious. I thought, that's not for them. And but what they were doing was looking to see if there was anything in there that was going to cause them to escape, get away, and then it could possibly hurt them. So what we do is we have a group of women that in a couple different churches that make these bags, and then I have lots of people that donate all these items. So if you can, if there's anything you can think of that these girls would need, we go for chapstick and nail clippers. If you've ever had a hangnail, you know how irritating that is. So we try to do everything we can to help these girls. And but our goal is to get up close and personal with them. Because like I said, when they first see you, they're real resistant. But then after they find out that you have something for them, then they open up a little bit. So we kind of want to get close to them. If there are any of the missing girls like Megan, try to get up close and personal to see if there's any identifying characteristics about that person, because the traffickers will change their appearance. They will, and every level is different. So, these girls could be flat-chested, and their traffickers will give them breast implants. Depending on the level, depending on the demand, depending on what kind of person is calling saying, hey, this is what I want. Any identifying tattoos, they'll cover them up, they'll change them. The branding that they put on, there is now people that are taking those brands and change it. Once these girls get rescued, they're changing the design into something that's not a reminder of what they went through. So the key players, they all work together, and these girls that get taken into trafficking, they are groomed, they are taught, they are told what they have to do, what they will do. And once they get addicted to drugs, they are afraid to leave the trafficker, because that's who gives them what they need. But in the same time, they're being exploited, and people are making money from these girls. And nobody should own anything. Nobody should own, and this has been around for years and years, and every country is a little bit different. every country, there may be some countries that are a little bit escalated more than what we do here. But nevertheless, there are people that are being trafficked, and our goal is to get awareness out so that you know what to look for. If you think you see something, know who to call, or even talk to the person. But our goal is just to make, let the community be aware of what could possibly be going on in your backyard, in your neighborhood. And it could be people that you least expect that are traffickers. It could be women and girls and young boys that you least expect that would be victims. Victims will be quiet. They're not going to speak up and say anything out of fear. One girl I had, she was a cheerleader. She graduated from high school, and her and her sister decided to go to a bar one night. And her sister went across the room to talk to somebody, left her sitting at the bar, and on each side of her were these two guys, and they come up to her. One was talking to her while the other one was putting drugs in her drink. And she woke up in the basement of the house. And she had been for 3 days, and they had injected heroin in between her toes and sold her repeatedly throughout the nights, and beat her and abused her. And so she had a couple of kids, but she didn't go home for several months because they kept her. So she ultimately, Children's Services took the kids for abandonment, but she was caught with these people, and they were selling her night after night, multiple times in a night. And they had thought one night that they killed her, and thought they overdosed her. So they threw her out in an alley, but somebody found her, and she lived. They took her to the hospital, and she made it through. And she will periodically go with me and give her story. But she will live with the rest of her life with HIV because of the needles and the drugs. And that wasn't her. She just set out to go out and have a good time with her sister. And little did she know that these two guys had selected her. This is who we're going to take. So, and there's a lot of different stories, and everyone has their own story, but I would encourage you to, just be aware of this and know that this stuff goes on. So let's take a look at some things here. I've got some brochures here, and they're kind of different between children and teenagers, and I think they're pretty unique, and it does speak. And I will just read this one thing. This is a meet your pimp daddy. And this is for teenagers. I am a criminal, and I live off the money of my victims. All I want is money, and I like power. I don't care about them, I just want them to work for me. There are 100,000 teenagers in this industry every year that can make me rich. I am a smooth-talking manipulator. I can charm you with gifts, shopping sprees, and free drugs. If it doesn't work, trust me, I will threaten, beat, and repeatedly rape and drug you, or I will threaten to rape or even kill your mother or your sister, and you will do anything I want because I am now your pimp daddy. You think this stuff is not real? This is real, and this stuff goes on. And you will choose to have sex with whoever I say, whatever I say, and however I say to do it. So a lot of these girls that are running away from home, they need to understand it. I would encourage churches or schools to really get with teenagers and say, it's not worth running away. Just because you get mad at your mom and dad for something, don't run away from home. Because these are the kind of girls that pimps will focus on. They will focus on those that are vulnerable. There's a Romeo pimp and there's a gorilla pimp. And the Romeo pimp will get with these girls and say, I can give you everything you need. Your parents aren't giving you enough health care for you. I'll give you everything you need. Come on, man. And once he gains her trust, then that's when she gets moved over to the groomer. She no longer sees him. He's done with her. The groomer takes charge. The groomer does take her shopping, tells her what she has to wear, tells her how she has to act, tells her how to negotiate. If the deal isn't what she thought it was going to be. So this stuff is real. A couple weeks ago, I was at the university and there was a lady speaking that she was caught in trafficking for years, and she was there to give her story, and her name is Sandy Storm. And there were some college students there, young girls, and I seen them sitting at their own table, kind of smirking and laughing and thinking this stuff isn't really real. But I've been on the streets. I've been in Columbus at 3 o'clock in the morning when it's been 5 below zero. And I've seen young girls on the streets just shaking. They're freezing to death. No gloves, no nothing. And I'm going up to them. And one little girl, I offered her a cinnamon roll from McDonald's. And she acted, she was better than any award-winning movie star on any, getting any kind of award. That girl was, she wanted that cinnamon roll. She was so excited for it. But heroin makes you crave sweets. So she was just all, and my friend that was with me, she was so excited that we were making this girl happy that she offered her cinnamon roll. And she took it. But these, and I go everywhere, but this one particular up in Columbus, on Sullivan Avenue, if you don't know where that is, that's a pretty popular place for trafficking. We've seen a lot of these young girls, and some of them don't look as young as they are, but they are young. And a lot of them are scared to death to talk to me because they'll look and see if their recruiter is watching them or their watchman is watching them. So this stuff is, and I hope that I can get this message across to you tonight. This stuff is real. It is true, and it does happen. But if you'd like to take any of these brochures, there is the key players in here, tells you what to watch for. If you drive down Putnam Avenue, you see a girl on the street, just look a block ahead. If you see a guy on a cell phone, you know she's being tracked. Okay? I can go on all night, and I won't. But after we get done here, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'd be glad to answer them. I'll go ahead and let Jill give her story here, and then I can come back and answer any questions. Yeah.
So I have confirmed everything that Lily has said because this was part of my life. I had said them words a year ago in July is when I first met Lily. I didn't know I was going to go to a human trafficking presentation. I just knew I was going to church with my pastor at this time. Sitting in the Congress there, the congregational, it was packed, very packed that day. And she goes on with her presentation, I don't know, it was an hour or so, something like that. And I look around at the end of it. She asked, just like she did now, for comments and questions. Some lady had stood up and made a comment about her family member being there. And I'm still looking around listening, and Lily goes, is there any more questions or comments? And you know how a little kid just like tugs at your pants, pulls at it? Well, I'm sitting there feeling that in my heart, and I'm going, really? No, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to stand up. Why? Because I had fear and judgment that took care of me at that point, and God was pulling at my heart. And I kept arguing back and forth in that pew, going, no, yes, no. How many times have we done that with a decision? And kept going back and forth, you know, just like a little kid, you're ignoring them. It pulls harder and harder. And that's what God kept doing. And finally, I looked around. I don't want to be judged. I'm afraid because I never could speak without somebody telling me when to speak, how to speak, and what I was going to say. And this was maybe 2-3 years after I came out of human trafficking. And so I ended up, got stronger and stronger, so I ended up saying them words. I have confirmed everything that she has said because I am a survivor of human trafficking since 2015. And my name is Jill Sharrer. And I will tell you my story. I I tell it differently in between, just whatever God puts through me to tell you guys. I do pray before I come up here. I do have news today because I had started that statement and it took me to something else, and I just write when I have these ideas. So it took me to, my mom always told me, here in the last maybe 5-6 years, when going in and out of jail and going to prison, even the wind blew to this part in the Bible of Peter on the water and in the boat. So my mom always said, you either put one foot in the water and go one way, or you put both feet in the water and go that way. You can't take two paths. Which one was you going to choose? And so after that, I put one foot in that water after confirming that, saying I would help her. But I had to have the other foot stuck on a boat, just like humans, because it was natural. It was comfortable to be on that boat. We don't like to be out there in the water because we don't know what's going to happen, because it's different. We don't know that unforeseen thing that would happen. We're used to being in the same chaos that goes on and on and on because we know the answer to it. We've done it how many times, you know, and that's what I did for a while. And it was after I did a couple presentations with Lily, even though I was clean at this time, still struggling, homeless. My husband had been in jail for a while then too. How can I sit up here and tell you my story if I'm still acting the way I was? Still with the attitude, still with same friends, just because I'm clean, sober, and out of the life, I can still have these friends. Well, yeah, you can, but you got to change you. You know, I was going to be fake if I stood up here and said all this stuff to you and go right back out and do it. And that was one thing. I wasn't fake out there. I kept my real name. I never had no other name out on the streets, and I even said my last name. My full government name was always gave because I didn't want to be fake out there. So I have 7 beautiful children that I had lost through this. I was the PTO mom. I did everything for kids. I wrote grants for Head Start. I was volunteer head award of Head Start, but I was the only child. I had an alcoholic father. My mother worked every day of her life. And that wasn't my bottom of this whole trafficking. I got into drugs. Drugs took me first to mine. I do have a baby by my trafficker. He's in prison right now on a different charge of a domestic violence on his mother, which is 70-some years old in a wheelchair. He's serving 5 years, but my daughter is adopted out. By the grace of God, she don't have to put up with that family and live that type of life. So after I got into drugs real heavy, I seen these girls out there coming with more money, and sometimes they'd have flashy clothes on, look nice, and things, and I'm sitting there. I always have the flirty personality type thing, so I would always be beside the drug dealers, keep myself, out of the way, back here with the drug dealers, because yes, I had a sex addiction due to being introduced to sex at a young age, is what I was told by a counselor. So that was what I did. So when I seen these girls come in, I'm like, well, they got everything, cake, ice cream, and all, they got the money, they got the drugs, they got the clothes. So, and I'm sitting here sleeping with a drug dealer for the drugs. Why don't I go out and eat my cake and ice cream too, if I want to stay in this cycle? So I had met some girls and met some people through the addiction, and I had got trained out there on the street. I was trained by a different girl which was a solo girl. That means that she didn't have anybody control her money. But if you think about it, if it's going back to the drug dealer, they're still controlling your money. I mean, I don't think there's no justification in between that there. My life out there was pretty rough, but it was pretty easy too, because I did what I was told. I used to have to stay out there every 30 minutes on Ridge Avenue. I had a quota, which that means I had to go out and get the amount of money I was told to get and be back there right at 30 minutes, no seconds less or more. Because if you was, when you walk through that door, God only knows what would happen to you. And due to, I've had my jaw broke, never been refixed because I had warrant out, had my nose broke. This is all in one setting. Bashed in all this side. I've been raped out there on the streets. I've had my head cut open right here. That was due to saving from cutting my throat. It's tough out there. Them girls that you see out there, it's not by choice. You know, it's not all by choice. Some of them, it's a family thing and they've been there because that's all they know. They don't know nothing else. But these girls are ladies, they're women, they're somebody's child, they're somebody's sister, mother. They didn't choose to be out there. It's the vulnerable part in their life, and these men and some women can get into your brains like unbelievable. They know everything, and that's what happened with me. The bad boy type of guy, you know, just sparks something up in a woman. That's how it got to me. This guy, my chauffeur, he is very, very, I don't even know how he can mind control you. I don't even know how he does it. He's so smooth at it, but he's ruthless. He will kill, he will do whatever. I've had to not bring enough money back. I had to sit in front of the household and clean naked or sleep with somebody besides him, with multiple guys. Whatever they wanted me to do, I had to do. Yes, I wanted out deep down inside, but I didn't know how, because I was too scared, because they had so much control, and the drugs had so much control over my life, and the threats were so severe onto other people and how they would keep me controlled. And I knew they would be severe because of the simple facts of what happened to me. So I can go into a lot more detail about it, and it is true, it does happen here. Yes, law officials have picked me up before. Yes, we do hide in cars because we don't want the cops to see us get in that car, because we don't want to charge. Soliciting, I always had trouble with that word, until we get out of city limits, and then we're allowed to sit back up. We can't take baths. Think about it, you know, just outside sweating, how you feel, and you want to go in there and get that shower. Well, we're not allowed. We get that shower when they tell us to get that shower. It's worse than even being in prison. Like, you can't even imagine some of this stuff. I started putting it into my quota by saying, okay, let's go to the motel. I can lay down on a soft bed for a minute, you know, instead of being in a car or back of a back seat. And that would take my shower time right there. Now, if they found out I had a shower and wasn't supposed to, there's another whooping, another whatever they thought was deserved for that. I used to do that, like, I would bring food back to give to the other girls. I was the one out there that would get extra things. I would take things from people that would pick me up because I wasn't going to get another beating. I will do whatever it takes to stop them from hurting me again. What had took me out of it was I'm sitting on Ridge Avenue, arguing with God again, begging him to please, either the next person picks me up, kill me, or send me to jail. You know, one or the other. Either save my life or kill me. I'm done. I can't do it no more. Well, luckily I ended up going to the county jail for a year. This is my second year of doing at the county jail. This was in 2013, and it separated me from my trafficker and everything, and that's when I met my husband today. After that, I went through some more severities. I have PTSD, I have borderline personality disorder, I have bipolar, I have severe depression, I am on medication and do see a psychiatrist. I do go through therapy. I do still have flashbacks. I have screwdrivers and alarms set all in my house. It's like Fort Knox sometimes because I get the paranoia from it. I do have nightmares. There's times I can't even sleep. But I learned to work through it. Today, I go around doing my story. I'm the only one speaking right now in the county that I know of. I'm involved in the community. I am in college today. I graduated May 7th of 2020 as a social worker assistant. I'm doing my intern down at United Way. I'm in the process of wanting to make my own nonprofit, and it's only for it to give hope, faith, love, and strength, and to meet people right where they're at, not where they came from. And I want to call it Rebound to Bound, because if you think about Rebound to Bound, you're probably thinking, well, why not bound to be rebound? Well, rebound has a definition of being bounced back and forth. You know, bound is for boundaries that we never set up. Those was taken away from us. Our whole, I mean, I know it's hard for you guys to understand because you've never been in that position or never probably won't be in that position, but, you know, if we don't call or see something, we see something and don't do nothing about it, we're still making a choice. You choose not to do nothing about it, you're still harming the community, and you're still hurting that next person with that. I've worked with Lily over a year. We don't always work together, but thank God, she was there that day. I was like my whole God thing. I'm actively in church when I can be, because I have a very busy schedule with school. My 20-year-old son lives with me. I do have a relationship with him. Is it good? It's rocky. We're working. I do have a relationship with my mother now. I am trying to work on a relationship with my 21-year-old daughter, which has a baby, my grandbaby, that I have never met because I was in prison. I got out of prison of 2017 with 2 charges, felony 5 possession of cocaine, and felony 3 tampering with evidence. I pled out to amended F4 to attempted tampering with evidence, which is very hard with that charge to be in the field and stuff that I'm in, to deal with records and stuff, but I'm working on that to get expunged. This life cycle started in 2008, 2007 when I lost my children when it really took off. I went through it for 10 years. And today I believe that I had to have the things happen to me, even though they're so horrible. And how can I say that? Well, because today I have to do that to be able to tell the next person it's okay. You know, when we go through hard times and things that we think that shouldn't be happening to us that are so horrible, it's only a training ground for what you're supposed to be. You know, we are on this book of life. We write each other's chapters. We're each authors. That's how I've seen it when I came out of things, how I can interpret what I've been through. So, I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything. But I do have a youth a video was, a presentation of ours was taped. It's on YouTube. It's the St. Joel's First Church of the Nazarene. What every parent should know. It's a 52-minute video of another part of my life. Like I said, whatever comes out, comes out. There's one more thing I thought of, and I don't know what it was. So I'm 38 years old. I've been born and raised here. So if you guys have any other questions, I do have a door prize. Also, I have an event. My very own first event is happening September the 17th from 5 to 7:30, and it's at Crossroads Library, and that's at Cambridge. It's on Weisville Road. You guys are more than welcome to come and hear that. It's going to be me and Lily, and then there's a couple others that will be there. I invited everybody but the president. I couldn't find his address. You know, I'm going to email on that one, but I'm all about getting awareness out there. I'm all about the children, more a part of it, because they're getting younger and younger. I had to sit in an AA meeting this week, and wow, I was surprised. The old timers are not there no more. It's a younger generation, and that's what I want to do, is just tell that I've been there. I may not feel what you feel, but there's hope and there's strength somewhere, and we have to be each other's chain of that to make this world keep going around. So that's all I have to say for my story. If you like any more in depth with it, I can meet with you one-on-one for questioning or anything like that. But I'll draw a door prize number. It's not much, but I just thought it'd be something. Well, that must be the lucky one. I'm one of the ones and it fell out. Okay, the last three numbers are 0, 2, 3.
Well, again, thank you for having us. If anyone is interested in being part of this organization, we certainly welcome you. If you're interested in helping to go out and distribute these bags, we do have a training process that we go through. So if you are interested, take your name and number, and if you want to be part of this organization, just let me know.
Lily, so much for you to open up for questions or comments to you.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead and open the room up, and we can go around. If anybody has any questions or comments for either one of the ladies, feel free to do it this time. We'll start over here with Todd. Just go around. If you don't have to.